Hi guys, another analysis here today. This time Hideki Matsuyama, probably the weakest part of his game. We all know the incredible distances he can hit the ball and the consistency of his long game, especially when he's playing well. Had that winning streak, I think it was the end of last year, but certainly suffers a little bit with the putter. So there's a few things that I see he does well, and there's a few things that I certainly think he can do to improve his putting. So let's start with the things that he does well. Starting with the setup. Number one in his setup, again, like a lot of guys on the tour, nice stable, wide stance, and his lower half looks very athletic, as it does with his long game. He looks like he's very stable, and you can actually see through the motion his legs stay rock solid. So that's definitely a positive as far as I'm concerned. And then another part of his setup that I like is, for the most part, his grip. He's actually improved that. Going back a couple of years, I seem to remember it being not quite as level as that in the hands, and also not so much through the palm. So I found it very difficult finding a down the line video. I haven't managed to find one of Hideki putting, but certainly recently it's been noticeable in his technique from down the line that the putter is sitting a little bit better, and that he's got the grip going a little bit more through his palms. So that's something he's looked like he's improved. So what are the areas I believe he can improve? Well, let me bring up Steve Stricker just for a little comparison to start with. So one thing that's noticeable in the setup that's a little bit different is, first of all, ball position. So Hideki's ball position is certainly a fraction more forward in this stance, and what that actually does is it means he has to reach forward for it, and his shoulders and elbows aren't quite as level as Stricker's here, and it also gets his head behind the ball, whereas you look at Strick here, pretty much left eye straight over the ball. So almost a mini driver setup there for Hideki, which isn't great. Possibly A, for seeing the line, but also it makes his angle of attack a little bit too much on the up, which we'll see in the motion. If we simply play the motions through, you can see Hideki's putter finishes a lot higher than Stricker's on the right, and that's simply because his right shoulder has gone down a lot further, and his hands have finished higher. So he's hitting the ball a little bit more on the up, and it makes it a little bit more difficult to A, get the face square, and B, strike the putt properly. So that's certainly one area I feel he can improve. Another, if we take them both back to setup, is the relationship between the putter and his sternum, and the movement of the putter basically through the stroke. So if we draw a line here on Steve's putter and then Hideki, and then if we take Hideki back, very little hand movement. It's almost like it's a hinge to take the putter back in his backstroke. And then if you watch, it's not helped by the camera here actually. The camera does move back a little, but if you see how much further his hands have travelled on the follow through than they did in the backstroke, A, that's not ideal for tempo. It seems to me when I watch Hideki putt that he can get a little short in his backstroke and almost accelerate too much through the ball. And B, he's actually changing the loft and the face angle of the putter in the backstroke. And that's why I think he almost has to make the hands travel through so far on the way through to almost hold the face square. So if we take a look at Steve here on the right, he takes his putter back, and the hands and putter head seem to travel the same relative amount compared to the sternum, and then the same in the follow through. So we draw a line again there. So I mean, that's a pretty ideal scenario from Stricker there. The putter has travelled back and through exactly the same distance, and the relationship between the arms, hands and putter hasn't changed. So then the hands have travelled the same relative distance both back and through, and that's A, allowing the face to be squared without manipulation, and B, for Stricker's tempo to be spot on, which is very much different to what we see on the left here from Hideki. So in summary, for me, if Hideki could improve those things in his setup, so A, ball position is a fraction forward, get his shoulders and elbows a little bit more level, and therefore get his left eye in line with the ball, not necessarily over the ball, depends on how he sees the line, and then improve the motion in terms of keeping the relationship between the hands, arms and putter the same, and improve his tempo. I think he will find he will putt much better. That's it from me. I hope some of this analysis might help you with your game, and I hope to catch up with you soon. Take care.